Welcome. We're here today to talk about how much does it cost to redesign or design a website. I'm Ryan Flanagan. I'm the CEO of Nuance Media. And we've been doing this for a while, and this is a question we actually get asked very frequently. So the first thing you have to realize is it can cost you $100 to $1 billion. Facebook, for example, is just a website. So it really depends on the complexity and some of these other things, and we're going to talk today about kind of the three different models for building out a website: the do-it-yourself model, the freelance model, and then the agency model. But before we get into that, you want to take some time to kind of take into account some things that we should really consider. So what are your business goals? What are your end objectives? Why are you doing this? Are you just doing this to have a billboard website up that you use with your current networking that you do? Or are you looking at something that's actually going to help your company grow and provide leads and kind of be the credibility queue or your first point of contact with your clients? You want to think about what is the opportunity. Is there opportunity to rank nationally or do campaigns in order to actually grow your business over time and be more successful? And then finally, the complexity and customization. Is this an e-commerce site? Is it a simple website? Once again, Facebook is just a website too, but it is very complex. Okay, now let's talk about the do-it-yourself model. So the do-it-yourself model is really for very small businesses that have revenue constraints and that might have technical expertise. Squarespace, Wix, these are great examples of platforms that enable you to build your website yourself. The price here can be about $100 to $3,000. And the goal really here is to create a billboard website that's not really going to help you. It's not going to go out and find leads for you or new customers or anything like that. But people that you already have established relationships will view it and say, he looks legit, let's do business with him. And so how do you kind of leverage your existing networks with a billboard website? The pros with the do-it-yourself website is it's affordable, it's easy to use. And then the cons, though, are it has an inability to fine-tune if you want advanced functionality and things like that. The opportunity cost, you're building a website compared to building your business, which are two different things. Lack of best practices. You might not launch a website right. It might not be cross-browser compatible. There's some issues that can happen with this that can be really an issue. And then it's not built to grow your business. It's much more of a billboard. It's supposed to be referred to by your friends and those type of things, so it's not really focusing on growing your business. All right, so now let's talk about the freelance model. The freelance model is for small businesses with revenue, simple e-commerce websites, and then also kind of limited technological functionality. We're not talking about a big app company like Facebook or anything like that. This is still kind of more simple. Now, when you look at this, and this is working with freelancers, your cost on this is going to be anywhere between $2,000 and $12,000. And the goals with this is kind of a billboard or a simple website, similar to the DIY level, but maybe you didn't have the technical expertise, so you had to hire a website developer and a designer to execute this. You're leveraging your existing network, and then you could also be doing potential lead generation with this, depending on the freelancers that you hire. Maybe you hired a marketer in there too that knows conversion optimization. There's some different levels with that. The pros with this is that you have a more sophisticated design because you've contracted with a designer, so your website will probably look better depending on your design skill set. You have fewer risks at launch. Because you are theoretically working with professionals on this, hopefully the website will be launched and that won't be a big issue. The cons, though, are project management, longer development time, and then you have to hire these people. So you have to interview them, you have to go through that process, you have to do all those type of things, which can take time, so you kind of have that opportunity cost issue. Additionally, what we've had happen to us a number of times at Nuance Media is that we'll get a call from a client that has spent tens of thousands of dollars on development, and we can't use any of the code because it wasn't done well. They worked with an overseas company that looked good on paper but then did everything wrong. So there are some inherent risks with freelancers. So when you look at the freelancers, make sure that they have good reviews, that they're reputable, that maybe they're a referral or something like that. Just kind of proceed with caution with that. All right, the agency model. So the agency model is really for businesses with revenue and budget. that also advanced e-commerce websites. And the price here is typically $15,000 to $40,000, depending on the complexity of the website, the industry, the competition, all of these type of things. Your goals with this are really business growth. How are we focusing on growth? How are we focusing on profitability, lead generation? If you do this well, your website can actually be a lead generation machine for you. Best digital practices, how do you do this right the first time so it actually helps your company grow over time? Credibility, thought leadership, how do you really differentiate yourself from your competitors? And quite frankly, there's another goal here that's a long-term strategic advantage, because the competitive market space in the digital area is competitive. And the sooner you get into that, there is a long-term strategic advantage by doing this well. All right, the pros here are best reputation for your brand, expertise, customization, return on investment. Ultimately, if you're trying to leverage your website to help you grow your company and you're serious about this, agency is a really good way to go, particularly if the agency is thinking and talking about return on investment, lead generation, sales, all of those things. I would say it's a red flag if you talk to an agency and they are just going to launch a website and then wash their hands of you. That is not best. The cons here is it's a larger investment. That is the cons. You could also work with an agency, as I just said, that's not actually focused on business growth. So when you look at this, make sure that you're hiring the right agency. All right, so some post-launch considerations. People talk about the website all the time and how do we get that out, but really where you start optimizing and making revenue on your website is what you do once you get it up. So how are people using your website after launch? Have your leads gone up? Are things working better now that you've launched compared to before you launched? So are we seeing search engine optimization since your launch? Are we getting more leads here? What are you doing for search engine marketing? Unfortunately, if a website redesign isn't done well, you can actually see your leads go down and your traffic go down if people aren't routing the right pages to the new pages that you have on your website, that there's no conversion optimization done, and things like that. So that's something that you have to think about with the DIY, the freelance, or the agency model, is what are you doing post-launch? And now that you've spent this time and this effort and this resources on, make sure that it's helping you hit your end goals and your end objectives. Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And if you can follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and if you have any questions, please just comment away. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to get content like this in the future, please subscribe, and we'll be sure to keep you up to date. If you're interested in engaging with me or Nuance Media, we can be found on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn under @NuancedMedia or @RyanFlanagan. Finally, if you've ever wondered what the cost of a website might be, we've actually taken the time at Nuance Media to put together a website cost calculator. This asks a series of questions, and at the end, you get a range from low to high end of what your website might cost. If you're interested in finding out more about that, the link is in the description below. Okay, hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.